And there's so much that the community is talking about today. We want your opinion. Just comment on our Facebook page and our YouTube live stream, starting with the big story that has the whole triad talking today. Homecomings canceled. Thousands of visitors will no longer be coming to spend their money in Greensboro. NC A&T announced the greatest homecoming on earth will not happen for the first time ever. Winston-Salem State University also called off its homecoming celebrations. Now, it's important to note both schools still plan to have their football games, but it's still a big loss for alumni, students, and certainly our community. Right now, head to WFNY.com/vote now. Let us know what you think of the decision. While you vote, let's get to WFNY News 2's Grace Holland, who spoke to some alums still trying to deal with this announcement.
Aggie pride is bruised today. I heard over and over again from the alumni I talked to that they were just holding out hope that homecoming would get to go on as scheduled. But then this statement came out from NC A&T over social media and on email that the greatest homecoming on earth, GHOE, will not happen. All in-person homecoming activities are canceled except for the football game. That's hitting home for all the alums I talked to. For 2020 graduate Joshua Dark, it's just another part of what's been a tough year.
This would have been my first GHOE as an alumni, and everybody's disappointed. But like I said, I think we all kind of understand it's what's best for everybody involved.
Even though Dark and his fellow alums agree with the decision due to coronavirus concerns, it still means that more than 100,000 people will not come to Greensboro for homecoming this October, and that means economic losses of more than $10 million for the city. You can hear more about that economic impact coming up later tonight, and also you can hear more from some of these alumni, including Sandra Hughes, and hear what they have to say coming up at 5 and 6.
Okay, to give you a little perspective about how big the impact of this is, today on Twitter, GHOE was trending and it ranked in the top 10 things across the entire nation. So take a look at what some of the people were saying. A lot of people just posting GIFs just like this one, really upset this is not going to happen. We also have Danby who says, if GHOE canceled, might as well cancel the rest of the year. Wake me up in 2021. A lot of us feel that way. We have Joe who said, I'm not surprised GHOE was canceled. I just wasn't mentally prepared for the announcement. This was kind of a shock, wasn't it, when you first heard about it? I think a lot of us felt that same way. And we got JoJo who says, they canceled everything for GHOE except the football game. I am not okay. We have young Chris who says, they canceled GHOE. The world about to flipped upside down. This is really a strong feeling that a lot of people had. We want to know from you. Keep commenting on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think about GHOE being canceled.
Regardless of whether it's a law or a store requirement, wearing a face covering when you're around other people slows the spread of the virus.
Today, Governor Roy Cooper once again encouraged all North Carolinians to wear a mask when out and about, but he stopped short of making it a mandatory requirement statewide. He says, though, the state is still considering a statewide requirement for wearing masks. In the meantime, we do know some city officials issued their own mask requirements. In Raleigh, the mayor says masks will be required when residents are out in public and in contact with others starting tomorrow. And in Boone, it will be required starting on Saturday. Officials say there will be a 3-week grace period before the requirement is enforced. And we are still waiting to see if the state will move into phase 3 of reopening next week. But Governor Roy Cooper says the number of cases is worrying. He is expected to make a final decision about phase 3 on Monday. Again, right now, we are expected to move into that phase at the end of June. But in today's update, Dr. Mandy Cohen says the increase in cases is not solely because of testing. This could possibly slow down our state's reopening process.
New information this afternoon about Ace Speedway. That's the Alamance County racetrack, which continue to hold races even though Governor Roy Cooper put a ban on mass gatherings more than 25 people. A crew member has tested positive for coronavirus. Now, Alamance County health officials say that crew member does not live in Alamance County. At this time, no clusters of an outbreak have been traced back to the track. Alamance County health officials say they are working with others across the state to try and contact trace. The big challenge is that a majority of the fans who came to the race do not live in Alamance County.
Still tracking showers across parts of the Carolinas, but it's a little different today compared to days past. We've had more amounts of sunshine, and what is forming out there is quite scattered in nature. Let's take a look at the latest radar right now, finding a couple of clusters of rain I want to zero in on. First off, in Randolph County. You look down there by Asheboro, closing in on Randleman. This is mostly light to moderate rainfall, and today the motion here, things are moving from southwest to northeast. That's opposite of the last couple of days, so keep that in mind when you're tracking at home. Looking here at Forsyth County, a couple of light showers from Winston over to Kernersville and Colfax in parts of Guilford County, but the heavier action is in Yadkin and near King and Tobaccoville at this time. Want to widen out the view so you can see what we're dealing with. It's still that pesky low pressure system, but it has widened out, weakened, and moved north. That's why we aren't seeing as much rain and it's not as widespread. Temperatures have warmed as a result of that sunshine today. We're in the mid and upper 70s right now, and tomorrow should be very similar. Again, on and off showers and storms for your Friday. It's not a washout. Far from that, we'll have a high temperature of 80 degrees. Coming up, we talk about the weekend.
Let's get you caught up now on your 4 to 5 roundup. Supreme Court justices upheld the Daca program today. That allows U.S. immigrants who came to the country as children to stay in America. Now, the Trump administration tried to end the program, saying it was created illegally. But the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision that the president's staff did not provide a sound enough reason to dismantle it. President Obama created Daca by signing an executive order back in 2012. It currently protects more than 650,000 immigrants from being deported. Today's ruling will not protect the program forever. The Department of Homeland Security can still look for another way to end Daca. Health officials in West Virginia are investigating an outbreak of coronavirus cases they say are tied to Myrtle Beach. Health officials in northern West Virginia say at least 8 cases are tied to travel to Myrtle Beach. They're now asking anyone who traveled to a crowded beach area to self-quarantine. Several Myrtle Beach restaurants closed this week after workers there tested positive for the virus. Well, unemployment is certainly still a big issue across the country because of the pandemic. Last week, at least 1.5 million people filed for unemployment. Now, we are seeing fewer people file each week as more businesses reopen. We saw the peak amount of people out of work back in March. And one of the last Chicago Bulls jerseys Michael Jordan ever wore is about to hit the auction block. The jersey is from the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, MJ's last season with Chicago. Now, it wasn't a good luck jersey because the Bulls lost both of those games despite going on to win the series. However, that jersey is still expected to sell for $500,000.
Coming up tomorrow is Juneteenth, the holiday marking the end of slavery in our country. After the break, we take a look at the history of the holiday and the significance it's taken this year in the Triad. Tomorrow marks 155 years of commemorating Juneteenth, the effective end of slavery here in the U.S. And for the first time, the city of Greensboro will officially recognize the day with a virtual event list that is very long for the community. I spoke with Rodney Dawson from the Greensboro History Museum about the history of Juneteenth and how it's still relevant in today's society.
To understand Juneteenth, we first go back to January 1st, 1863, the day President Abraham Lincoln, with one proclamation, orders and declares that all persons held as slaves shall be free.
We were still in the midst of the Civil War, but the president, the legal president at the time, says slavery has ended. And so it depended, whoever won that war, if the North, if the Union forces win the war, they can enforce it.
It would take, however, more than 2 years for word of the Emancipation Proclamation to reach the enslaved in Texas.
People are saying that the messenger that they sent was killed. I've heard that the plantation owners got the word but didn't want to pass it on because they wanted to retain that labor. And then I've also heard where Union forces made a deal with some of these plantation owners and said, hey, we'll let you reap one more harvest.
On June 19, 1865, Union General Gordon Granger announced from this balcony in Galveston, Texas, that the Civil War had ended and the nearly 250,000 enslaved were now free. Again, 2.5 years after the proclamation. Rodney Dawson says there weren't enough Union soldiers in Texas before Granger's arrival to enforce the order. Following Granger's announcement, many of the enslaved left the state to be with the rest of their families, taking a dangerous walk to get there. Dawson refers to that as a faith walk and likens it to what we are seeing today with folks protesting against racial injustice.
That's kind of, you see the marches that we have, you see the movements that's galvanized, not just African Americans, but people of all, the entire demographic. We're taking that faith walk, and that's what Juneteenth means.
Juneteenth, June 19th, is a celebration from slavery to freedom. But Dawson says he hopes people will take the day to learn that many African Americans still don't feel free.
I hope people are educated. I hope people come. I hope it brings tolerance. I hope it inspires someone.
Now, the city of Greensboro will start its series of virtual events at 9 a.m. with the resolution officially declaring Juneteenth an official Greensboro celebration. All the events will be broadcast on the city of Greensboro's Facebook page. For a full list of the events, all you have to do is head over to gsosummeronline.com.
There are several other Juneteenth events happening all across the Triad. The group One Family, One Direction is going to hold a Celebrate Freedom event at Douglas Park. It will happen tomorrow from 3 until 6. There will be food, haircuts, and flag football, along with temperature checks. And the city of Winston-Salem will host a virtual celebration. It is the 16th annual festival, even if it is online this year. It's going to be on Saturday from 3 until 5. You can watch online on the Triad Cultural Arts Facebook page or on Winston-Salem TV channel 13.
How about a reason to smile? We have got a birthday milestone that we want to show you. You need to meet this wonderful young little lady. It is a great story that will leave you happy and uplifted. Next.
We all need a reason to smile today, so we have one. 102 years in the making.
Maud Brown celebrated a big birthday today. In place of hugs, there was a drive-by parade to celebrate her special day.
We've had many celebrations for the last 12 years. We have a big party every year, and with all the pandemic and everything going on, this year we're doing the drive-by celebration. First time we've experienced this, but it's worked really well. We've had about 45 cars to come by and almost 100 people, so it's been a huge success. Bye, Dickie. Normally we have people that you can hug and touch and kiss and have cake and punch. But this year, we didn't want anybody touching her because of the pandemic, and we got the idea, of course, from seeing other people do it on TV. It just gave you a good warm feeling, and knowing how much people do love her, and people give so much attention to her, which we appreciate. Most of her close friends came by and family members, and it was just exciting seeing them coming out in the rain to help us celebrate her birthday.
So there was also another drive-by celebration at the Elkin Hospital where Miss Maud was a longtime regular volunteer, and I know for sure how much she appreciated that. You know, it really is special because, you know, we aren't really able to celebrate our birthdays in the same way. Does it have people still come out of their way to be able to give her a gift and put a smile on her face? Priceless.
It also goes to show what a life well lived with that many friends at that age. I love to see that.
I'm telling you, there's something about those Surrey County folk. Hey, coming up next on the 4 to 5, you're hearing a lot about masks and requirements. Well, if there were a mask requirement in place, who would enforce that rule? What would that look like? I asked you about it on Facebook and you responded. Coming up next, we'll read some of those comments. And we also want to keep hearing from you about it on the WFMY News 2 Facebook live stream. Join our conversation in the comment section. We'll be back.
All week, we've been talking about when people will feel comfortable traveling again, and that will include feeling comfortable staying in a hotel. As states are continuing to reopen, more people are starting to check in. Chris Van Cleve shows us the new cleaning protocols in place.
This is the new normal in hotels nationwide. Marlon Castrillo spends an extra 10 minutes in each room at the Bethesda, Maryland Marriott. Cleaning starts with this electrostatic fogger and its hospital-grade disinfecting mist.
This is a little bit of time-consuming, but we want to make sure that every guest that walks through the door feels comfortable.
Once the room is made up and clean, key touch points, light switches, thermostat, the remote control are again wiped down. With only about 11% occupancy at the hotel, rooms sit empty for at least 48 hours.
We've looked at every aspect of the operation of a hotel.
Marriott CEO Arnie Sorensen.
What's the new normal?
The public space is going to be less busy. Our associates wearing masks, guests that are more likely to want to be in their room.
Throw pillows and magazines are gone from the rooms. In public spaces, you'll see signs reminding people to distance and plexiglass barriers at the check-in counter and at the hotel bar. This Marriott is testing a UV sanitizer for room keys and encouraging the use of an app-based digital key. Seating in the restaurant is limited, same goes for the pool. And gone, for now, is the buffet, replaced by individually packaged grab and go.
Hotel gyms are going to change too. The exercise bikes separated by plexiglass. And if you want to get on an elliptical or a treadmill, watch the signs because you can only use every other machine.
We know that guests believe quite reasonably that they can control their interactions with people in a hotel. Once you've gotten into your guest room, you are in your own space. And so the challenge for us is one we think we can meet, which is, can we deliver a room that the guests can have confidence is clean?
This month, Hilton is teaming with the Mayo Clinic and Lysol to roll out its Clean Stay, which, like Marriott, is focused on wiping down touch points. They'll mark cleaned rooms with these stickers sealing the door. Sandals and Beaches Resorts are also using the foggers, focusing on cleaning 18 common touch points throughout the hotel and using UV LED lights to inspect guest rooms for cleanliness. 64% of travelers in a recent survey said improved cleaning practices will significantly impact their decision to stay at a hotel.
For now, hotels, though, are still struggling. Marriott says its bookings are down 75%, but are improving. Still, the hotel giant expects recovery will take 2 to 3 years.
Got to check the radar on days like today. There are still some scattered showers and a few downpours moving across parts of the Piedmont. And this will continue, by the way, through the evening. So keep an eye on things if you want to get outside at all from time to time. It's changing every minute. Right now, we're looking at a couple of showers in Randolph County. These are mostly light to moderate. A couple downpours there in Davidson County as well. In Forsyth County, nothing near Winston-Salem, but it is raining heavily near King and places like Rural Hall as well. Summerfield dealing with a bit of a shower too. It just depends on where you are. A good day to use that News 2 app to track the storms. Mid 70s and upper 70s currently. That's the warmest we've been since Sunday, and we will continue to get warmer day by day. This low pressure area is kind of weakening. We'll see more sunshine, but still dealing with these scattered downpours each afternoon. That goes for tomorrow. It also goes for Saturday, but the rain chance is going down, not up, over the next couple of days. Look at 83 for your Saturday, a lower chance of afternoon storms. Sunday is mainly dry, and we are in the hot and muggy weather pattern going into next week.
Well, many studies show that face masks are one of the best ways to stop the spread of coronavirus. Now, starting this weekend, Raleigh and Boone will require people there to wear a mask. There's no statewide requirement yet. It's just a recommendation from state health officials. But if there were a mask requirement, how would this be enforced and who would be responsible for enforcing it? I asked you about it on Facebook to get your thoughts. Let's take a look at what you had to say this afternoon. Jordan Alexander said in New York, it's been mandatory for a bit now when out in public where you can't maintain 6 feet. People follow it because it's common sense. Amanda Petruzzi said, hit people with a fine. I have to wear 2 masks at work, an N95 and a level 3 for 8 hours a day. People can get over wearing one for 30 minutes in the store. Joan Warner Martin said, I think it should be left up to each store, restaurant, business, whether to make people that come in wear masks or not. And finally, Aaron Church said they can't enforce it, period. We're always interested to hear what you have to think about the hot topics of the day. Join the conversation on WFMY News 2's Facebook page. Just click on the 4 to 5 live video.
.430 mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check.
George, man, I'm sorry to hear about GHOE. I know that's your week. I thought of you immediately. I know. I thought about him.
Yo, mic check, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hey, we're getting ready for the 4:30. All week we've been talking about. I need a roll prompter.
Hey everyone, welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Tahisha Moyes, joined alongside Maddie Gardner and Ben Briscoe. We are here to inform you and connect you with the world around you.
My favorite part of this show is that we can see in real time what you think about the news through our Facebook Live feed. So leave a comment with what you think.
But let's get back to our big story of the day. Triad homecomings canceled. Was that the right move to make? We want to hear your opinion about this. Go to WFMY.com/vote now or use the free News 2 app to tell us what you think about fall events being canceled amid the pandemic. Well, for the first time ever, the event dubbed as the greatest homecoming on earth will not happen at NC A&T. School officials say while an in-person homecoming is canceled, the football game will go on October 31st as scheduled. Right now, it's expected to have limited fans in attendance, but that will depend on state guidelines. GHOE draws in nearly 100,000 visitors to Greensboro every fall, and local experts say it brings around $10 million to the Triad economy. A&T released a statement that reads in part, "We believe this difficult decision is the appropriate route to mitigate and reduce the potential spread of COVID-19. Winston-Salem State University also canceled its homecoming celebration. The event was originally slated for September 13th through the 19th and was expected to bring more than 10,000 people to town. The football game will still be played on September 13th as of now. The decision to cancel these kinds of events is one Wake Forest Dr. Christopher Ohl agrees with.
Large numbers of people at a football game, concerts, big parties, huge weddings, so on and so forth. Large gatherings of people are opportunities where a super spreader or somebody who's infected can give the virus to a lot of people at one time.
Together, these homecoming events bring tens of thousands of people into the triad, meaning a lot of your family and friends have already booked their trips. We know people book a year out in advance for this thing. So 210 did some digging into how to get your travel refunds because of coronavirus. And the basic rule is if an airline or hotel cancels your stay because of coronavirus, they must give you a refund. But if you cancel, that's where things get tricky. Let's break it down. First, your hotel, the most refundable part of your vacation.
With hotels, the industry standard now is a 48-hour cancellation notice, but that can vary by hotel to hotel. Some will let you cancel or change your plans up to 24 hours before you arrive. Others require more time, maybe 72 hours or more.
According to Marie Dodds with AAA, if you cancel early, most hotel chains will refund your money unless you paid up front for a discounted price. Your rental car also has flexible policies if you cancel early. Typically, you can cancel a rental car reservation up to 24 hours before you arrive free of charge. When it comes to flights, the airline will probably try to give you a travel credit instead of a refund. The CEO of Southwest Airlines explains why.
If we cancel your flight, then absolutely you are eligible for a refund. If you purchased a refundable fare, then according to the terms of your contract to carriage, absolutely you can get a refund. If you have a non-refundable fare, that was the deal, but you can reuse it at a future point.
Okay, two more tricks here. If the airline or hotel won't give you a refund when you talk to them on the phone, try tweeting about them. The big companies all have customer service experts trained to respond to what's said about them online. Remember, you're more likely to get your money back if you're nice about it and not blasting that company. And if that doesn't get you a refund, check with your credit card company. Several cards nowadays have travel insurance programs you probably don't even know you have. It's included right in your terms of service. Just give them a call.
All right, now let's get into your 4:30 roundup. Tomorrow, Ace Speedway owners will be back in court fighting for their right to open. Last week, a judge ordered that the track stay closed as the state argued it was a health hazard during the pandemic. Hundreds of fans packed the speedway in June, defying the governor's order, which limits outdoor mass gatherings to 25 people. Now, right now, the track has canceled practice and races, but is fighting to reopen. Once again, both sides will be back in court tomorrow. In the meantime, 2 Lexington firefighters are self-isolating after testing positive for coronavirus. City officials say they're working to track down anyone who was exposed and are taking action in the workplace. This comes just a day after learning 8 Greensboro firefighters also tested positive. Parts of eastern North Carolina are dealing with flooding after all the rain our state got this week. Now officials are keeping a close eye on the Tar River as it reaches flood stages. Several families have been rescued over the past few days because of high water. The river is expected to stay above flood stage until at least Saturday. And the home of the Winston-Salem Dash now has a new name. BB&T Ballpark will be named Truist Stadium. The name change comes because of a banking merger. If you remember, BB&T joined with SunTrust Bank, and the group became Truist, which is based in Charlotte. Due to the coronavirus, it's still unclear when the Dash will play their first game in the newly renamed stadium.
Well, infectious disease expert Dr. Christopher Ohl with Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center said today that he believes kids will go back to school in the fall. He also gave us an idea of what that could look like.
Because children don't get infected as often and their infectivity is lower when they are, I don't think kids are going to be asked to wear masks.
Instead, Dr. Ohl said he could see schools putting more distance between students, installing plexiglass barriers, and making them all sit in the same direction to limit the spread of the virus. So right now, state education leaders are looking to state guidelines and talking with health experts about going back to school in the fall. Earlier this month, state leaders released guidelines for what schools and classrooms could look like, but they also encourage school districts to have online learning plans ready. Right now, the State Board of Education is working to come up with a plan. It includes talking to individual districts and deciding what will work. These plans could include a mix of classroom learning and virtual learning. Those plans are supposed to be done by July 1st, of course, just a few weeks from now.
While we wait to see what officials decide for K-12 students, we are starting to learn what college campuses will look like. NC State is ready for students to get back this fall.
I just miss seeing people.
These 4 NC State students are picnicking on campus for one simple reason.
Because we miss school. Yeah.
They tell me being out of the buildings and instead relying on virtual classes has been an adjustment.
A lot of Wi-Fi issues and having to learn how to get on Zoom a lot.
Students will be back for in-person learning this fall. Everyone in the campus community will be expected to social distance whenever possible. Face coverings will be required in all campus buildings and university programs. They'll also be needed in outdoor spaces when people can't social distance.
I just really like the classes, so I'm just really excited to be able to do that even if it is wearing a face mask.
The university's limiting occupancy and making changes in classrooms, dorms, dining halls, and other buildings to keep people socially distanced. Staff's also adding more hand sanitizer and protective barriers. Some students worry it's too soon for doors to reopen, especially since a lot of classes will still be online.
I don't think that they put the safety of the public first, and that's disappointing.
Others say they don't want to miss more of the college experience.
Yeah, I'm really, what she said, willing to do like whatever it takes to be here on campus in class for our senior year.
High Point University is also making changes to how students will eat this fall. The school posted a video on Facebook this week showing off some of the ideas, including plexiglass partitions around workers and on the tables. Social distancing signs are up and public things like computers and tables are spread out. An app will also check which dining spots are busy so students can reserve spaces at a few of the more popular locations.
All right, as we go across the area this afternoon, we're starting to see more showers and storms bubbling up out there. Temperatures have warmed. We're at 74 degrees in Greensboro right now. High Point, you see a mixture of clouds and some sunshine. It's also 74 on that side of Guilford County. The same setup applies, but the system has moved a little bit. It's to our north now, so that means our storms are actually moving in from the southwest to the northeast. Nothing severe here, but we are finding some pretty heavy rain in parts of the area. One of those in northeast Guilford County. If we zoom in closer to Brown Summit, you'll see right over 29. That's the bullseye. 29 and 150, that intersection there. Very heavy rain happening. It won't last that long. It's a short-lived storm, but there is some rain there. You look farther out to the west near King and Rural Hall, heavier showers are there as well. Again, all of these are moving from southwest to northeast as you track them from home. Mid and upper 70s currently. That's warmer than we've been throughout much of the week. And we're going to do this evening and again tomorrow afternoon and evening, playing with scattered showers and storms. Not washouts, not widespread, but scattered showers and storms are likely. It's also going to be humid and muggy. We're stuck with that for a while as well. Tomorrow we'll get a little closer to 80 degrees as the heat builds. Still having to dodge those showers in the afternoon time. Could rain hard, but it won't last that long. Coming up, we will talk more about the 7-day forecast for your Father's Day weekend.
I know we are all hoping for good news in the fight to stop the coronavirus. While we wait on a vaccine, this week we are getting a little piece of good news. There's a successful treatment now for severe cases. It involves using a cheap and commonly used steroid. Here's a look at how it works.
A commonly available drug might help save lives in the fight against the coronavirus. Researchers in England found that dexamethasone reduced deaths by 35% in patients who needed treatment with breathing machines and by 20% in those only needing supplemental oxygen. The UK Department of Health said the drug had been approved to treat all hospitalized COVID-19 patients requiring oxygen effective immediately. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the drug was the biggest breakthrough yet in treating the coronavirus. And top U.S. infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci called it a significant improvement in the available therapeutic options that we have.
Well, researchers are still working to learn everything there is to know about COVID-19, including who could be most at risk. A new study says your blood type could influence who gets a bad case of coronavirus. The study was published in the New England Journal of Medicine on Wednesday. Scientists compared the genes of thousands of patients in Europe and found that those who had type A blood were more likely to have severe disease, while those with type O were less likely. The study involved about 2,000 people from several European countries. Medical experts say while the study is interesting, it's still too soon to say if your blood type could truly impact who gets a severe case of the virus. And a reminder here, the Red Cross is now screening for antibodies when you donate blood. So when you donate, you can learn what blood type you have and if you have any coronavirus antibodies. This is not a test for an active COVID-19 case. It's just to see if you may have had it in the past. If you're interested in giving blood, you can sign up for an appointment on the Red Cross's website.
Another impact we're seeing as the pandemic unfolds is weight gain in quarantine. And a new study found that it's been tough for kids who on average have gained 7 pounds since the pandemic started. Now that data was tracked by health and fitness site Total Shape. It found 55% of parents are worried about their child's weight gain. And along the East Coast, New Jersey had the worst weight gain on average of 10 pounds per kid. Here in North Carolina, kids averaged about 7.2 pounds of weight gain. You know, I love having conversations on my Facebook page, so I wanted to know how you at home were faring, you know, you being the adults of the household. I had to chime in, you know, saying for me, I'm kind of like the kids here, gaining some weight, being close to the kitchen all the time and working from home. Those two don't add up well. Well, let's go into some of the comments that you posted today. Ken Wood says, I've been able to maintain due to home workouts and more running. Well, more power to you, Ken. Can't say the same for me. And Ben, you know, there was another comment that I wanted to include, but it was a GIF, and it was this dog who was jumping on the scale, basically upset with the number that it was seeing, and that's me.
I saw the one online the other day about the calculator where they typed in the number they wanted and then put it at their feet. I think that's what I'm going to have to do after all of this. You know, the worst part for me is
right. I like to say...
Oh, go ahead, Tasha.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the worst part for me is that, you know, I'm gaining weight and my tailor is closed right now, so he can't even take out my jackets. So it just feels like you're getting bigger as it goes on and on.
Yeah, that's a double whammy. I'm just waiting for the gyms to reopen. From now until then, I will just keep trying to work out in my living room.
Good for you. We'll be right back.
Well, it is my favorite time of the day. Time to honor some great grads in the class of 2020. We know graduations are not traditional this year, and that might be a bummer for a few of you, but it's why we take the time to give some senior shout outs here all week on WFMY News 2. So let's start with Jessica Horan. She graduated from Southwest Guilford High School, and this year, while there, she was a part of the life skills class that her family says made her more independent in so many ways. They add their family will be forever grateful to this amazing school. Congratulations, Jessica. Ethan Cooley graduated from Rockingham County High School. He's an Eagle Scout, member of the National Honor Society, Beta Club, and Tri-M Music Honor Society. He was also a part of the school's marching band all 4 years, playing the trumpet, trombone, and baritone. He will soon start his apprenticeship with machine specialties. And Logan Silman graduated from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. She majored in psychology and has a double minor in sociology and women and gender studies. While there, she worked as an RA, and she says she is proud to be a Seahawk. She hopes to become a therapist. Congratulations to all of our grads today. Hey, if you want to share a senior shout out with us, find this submission form on our website. We ask that you send in your photos of your senior, but no professional photos, please. And be sure to leave a message about their accomplishments.
It is time to check in with our question of the day. When do you think fall events like homecoming should be canceled? The majority of people are saying now, followed by don't cancel them at all.
All right, time to check in on our weather across the Triad, everybody. I do want to let you know I have a weather buddy today, it would appear. This cat is not up for adoption. It is my cat, Boot Scoot, but she wanted to say hello. Say hi? No? Okay. As she goes and sulks in the corner, I'll let you know there are a couple of showers and storms moving across the Triad. A few downpours now moving into southern Rockingham County. We have the same thing over in northern Forsyth County and southern Stokes County at this time. Just plan on some scattered downpours as we go into the course of the afternoon and evening. They're not widespread, and it'll be a similar situation tomorrow. Temperatures have finally started to warm up, though. We're back into the mid 70s now. You're noticing that mugginess and the humidity, though, coming back to our area. That's something that really is going to continue in the next couple of days. So heat, humidity, really building back by the weekend. So for tomorrow, we're back around 80, really a good chance of seeing some of those scattered downpours and storms for the afternoon. Saturday, there will be some of those scattered about for the second half of the day as well. Good amounts of sun, though. I don't think you need to cancel outdoor activities. And Father's Day itself, good weather for a cookout, but probably should do whatever Dad wants for dinner. That's right. Just a low chance of a storm, and we will keep that typical summertime weather in place heading into next week.
The greatest homecoming on earth canceled.
Aggies heartbroken over North Carolina A&T's decision.
Hey y'all, we just had Boot Scoot the Weather Cat make an appearance in the last forecast unprompted. She wanted to on her own.
Behind me is BB&T Stadium, and where I'm standing right now is one of the spots
It's time for my 2 cents. On March 11th, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Amid stay-at-home orders, working from home, and social isolation, I naively assumed the virus would clear out quickly and we'd all be back to normal in a few weeks. Now, 14 weeks later, I've come to the realization that we will likely never go back to normal. I don't mean I believe we'll have to stay at home or wear masks or close businesses forever. I think basic components of life before coronavirus will return, but it won't be like it was. This global event has affected and changed all of us. For me, that's a weird thing to think about, living through a collective life shift. And it's normal to grieve the things that will be left behind. It's actually important to acknowledge what won't make it. But one day, we're going to get to a place of acceptance. We'll be living life post-pandemic. And I think we'll be stronger because of our experiences. We now have the opportunity to look back and learn and grow. We've made it through something unprecedented. And even though we won't get back to normal, I think we'll get to a place that's better than we were before. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.